Claire Lawson, a fearless investigative journalist, was on the brink of exposing one of the most powerful families in the country. She had spent months uncovering the truth behind the brutal murder of Emily Carter, a 16-year-old girl who had been found dead on a deserted street. The prime suspect, Nathaniel Blackwood, the reckless and entitled son of billionaire media mogul Theodore Blackwood. Witnesses had disappeared, evidence had been buried, and the police had been silenced. But Claire had found proof. The night before she vanished, she sent a cryptic email to her editor, James Delaney. "I have proof." By morning, she was gone. Claire's apartment was untouched. No signs of forced entry. Her car still parked outside. Her phone left on the nightstand. It was as if she had never existed. Her best friend and fellow journalist, Olivia Mason, refused to believe she had disappeared willingly. Desperate for answers, Olivia broke into Claire's laptop, finding a hidden folder labeled Carter Case. Inside were transcripts, financial records, and most chilling of all, a recovered video. It showed Emily Carter arguing with Nathaniel Blackwood on the night of her murder. Moments later, Emily screamed. Then the screen went black. Claire had been right. Nathaniel had killed Emily. And now Claire had paid the price for knowing too much. Olivia and James took the footage to Detective Mark Calloway, one of the few honest cops left in the force. But just hours after their meeting, Calloway was found dead. A note beside his body read, "Some things are better left buried." The message was clear: stop digging. Then, a mysterious envelope arrived at their newsroom. Inside was a single USB drive containing security footage from Claire's apartment. A masked figure had entered her home the night she vanished. The build, the posture, it all pointed to Nathaniel Blackwood. The deeper Olivia and James dug, the more sinister the truth became. Claire hadn't just been investigating Emily's murder. She had uncovered something much bigger, a pattern of disappearances tied to the Blackwood family, spanning years. Theodore Blackwood had built an empire on power, money, and fear. His son, Nathaniel, was a liability, a violent, unstable man who thought his wealth made him untouchable. When Emily Carter rejected him, he snapped. One moment of rage and she was gone. His father had covered up his crimes before. But this time, Claire had the proof to bring them both down. She had to be silenced. Then came the call. A distorted voice whispered into Olivia's ear, "She's alive, but not for long." The caller sent her a location, a parking garage. Against her better judgment, Olivia went alone. In the shadows, a hooded figure emerged, shoving a USB drive into her hands. Trust no one. Before she could ask anything, a black SUV roared toward her. The hooded figure wasn't as lucky. The drive contained footage of a heavily guarded underground facility, one owned by the Blackwoods. Among the grainy images, Olivia saw Claire. Alive. James leaked the evidence to the press, forcing the FBI's hand. The raid on the Blackwood estate made national headlines. Inside, they found Claire drugged but alive, along with several other victims who had been silenced over the years. Nathaniel Blackwood was arrested for Emily Carter's murder. His father, once untouchable, was taken down for conspiracy, kidnapping, and obstruction of justice. Claire returned, bruised but unbroken. She later published a best-selling book detailing the corruption of the Blackwoods, ensuring their legacy of crime would never be forgotten. Justice had been served. But as Claire stared out at the city skyline, she knew one thing: the truth is never safe, and someone somewhere was already trying to bury the next one. Theodore Blackwood was behind bars. His son, Nathaniel, would never see freedom again. The world had watched as the once powerful dynasty crumbled under the weight of their crimes. But Claire Lawson knew better than anyone. Justice was never that simple. She had survived captivity, endured weeks of psychological torment, and had fought her way back. But something gnawed at her. The Blackwoods had operated in the dark for years, their influence stretching far beyond what had been uncovered. And someone was still out there, watching. Claire's instincts told her this wasn't over. It started with small things. A car parked outside her apartment for hours. Unfamiliar footsteps echoing behind her on late-night walks. Anonymous emails filled with cryptic warnings. You exposed one piece of the puzzle. Do you think that was all there was? Then, one evening, Olivia Mason found a folder sitting on her desk at the Chronicle. No name, no explanation. Inside was a single sheet of paper, one sentence scrawled in black ink. Check the Carter case again. It made no sense. The case was closed. Nathaniel Blackwood had murdered Emily Carter, and the evidence was ironclad. But what if they had only scratched the surface? Claire and Olivia returned to the case files, combing through everything. Every autopsy report, every witness statement, every overlooked detail. Then they found it. Emily Carter had been reported missing 2 days before the official time of death. Why had no one noticed this before? More unsettling, Emily's body had been moved. The crime scene had been staged, which meant someone else had been involved. And that someone was still free. The deeper they dug, the more unsettling the truth became. Witnesses who had once claimed to know nothing suddenly vanished. A retired detective who had handled Emily's case was found dead in his home, an apparent heart attack. But Claire recognized the signs of a silencing. Then Olivia received an untraceable call. A voice low, calm, confident. Stop digging, Ms. Mason. You got your story. Don't look for another. Click. The message was clear. Nathaniel Blackwood had killed Emily Carter. But he hadn't acted alone. Someone had helped him cover it up. Someone who wasn't in prison. Someone who was still watching. Claire wasn't about to walk away, not now. She had brought down the Blackwoods, but this was bigger. There was another name, another powerful figure still operating in the shadows. Emily Carter had been the beginning. Claire knew there were more victims, more stories waiting to be uncovered. And if she had to risk everything again, she would. Because the truth was never safe. And she had unfinished business.